Hi, my name is Will Nunziata, New York City-based director and creator of theater, television, and film, and also proud FENIX Global Artist Ambassador. Today, I am thrilled to be speaking with acclaimed singer-songwriter, ASHLEY STRONGARM. For more on ASHLEY, you can read more about her right below this video, but in the meantime, take a sneak peek at her incredible original tune, I Don't Feel Anything. ASHLEY, how are you?
Hi, I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. And I'm doing so much better now that not only are we speaking together, but I'm so excited that the audience got a little sneak peek of your original I Don't Feel Anything. ASHLEY, before we get started, I want to know, where did you grow up and when did you realize you had this love of music?
Oh, and thank you. Yeah, thank you for playing my first single. I grew up in Charlotte, North Carolina. And I think I always thought that singing, at least like with your siblings, was a normal hobby. Both my brothers are really musical, and we all grew up singing together, like in choir. So that was something that we did for fun, just to pass the time. And I didn't realize that that wasn't like a normal activity as a child for a while. But it wasn't until I went to college that I started really focusing on songwriting. It's when I was diagnosed with Crohn's disease and I was really like immobile. I was not super healthy and I'd grown up dancing all of my life. And so I had a lot of creative energy and not really anywhere to put it. So I started just asking people to tell me about their problems. And I told people if they would tell me about their problems, I would give them a song in return. And it was something I just started as a way to pass the time. And it ended up being like one of my favorite activities. And now I'm—
Oh my goodness. Well, first off, thank you so much for sharing that. And my goodness, well, talk to me a little bit about how that must have been not only a healing experience for them, but for you.
Yeah, absolutely. It really was. I just had, I was really upset and trying to come to terms with having something that was forever. And I was in my senior year of high school when I was diagnosed. So my first year in college, I was really ill and didn't have the right treatment yet. So I was really fatigued. So I was just really sad and angry, and I found music to be the most therapeutic thing for me. So when I first started writing for other people, it was just a way to sort of pass the time. And from there, it ended up being something that I could like sing about my own experiences. And I, still do that to different degrees when I'm upset about something or, trying to wrap my head around an experience. It seems to be the best way to do that.
Oh, ASHLEY, that's amazing. Wow, that's absolutely incredible. And I want you to go into a little bit about not only your song, I Don't Feel Anything, but then into the whole idea of the EP Ghosts.
Yeah. My first single, I Don't Feel Anything, was I had gone through this breakup. It was my first year in New York, and things just ended on weird terms. I mean, I guess as they often do. And I was younger at the time, and I was feeling really petty. And I remember this person had made some comment where they were like, "Well, like I don't love you anymore." And I was like, "Well, I lost feelings first." I was really upset that I was like, "You don't get to have the last like so I ended up writing this thing about, being in a relationship with someone when you've already lost feelings and you haven't quite left yet. And I love the song. I don't think the concept is like the least toxic thing I've ever done. But I liked the idea and like playing around with sort of being in something and maybe being like the bad guy in a song instead of the person who's having something bad happen to them. I first started, I don't know if you know the artist Jessica Lee Mayfield, but she's like a really beautiful singer-songwriter. And I remember hearing a song of hers where she wasn't like painting herself as a victim. She was more like painting herself as a villain. And I thought that was really interesting. So that's something that I did a couple of times in the EP as a whole, but it started with, I don't feel anything.
Wow, that's amazing. And then you created this whole kind of, dare I say, narrative with this EP. Talk to me a little bit about the title Ghosts. I mean, I know because I read up on it, but a little bit more about the title Ghosts, and then how that thesis statement traversed its way through all of the songs.
Yeah, I released For Ghosts I've been in New York, I think it's about 2 or 3 years. And I was really coming to terms with like all of the ghosts of my past. And when I was finally ready to release music on my own, I thought that was a good place to start. I had all of these songs that I'd written about people, whether they hurt me or I hurt them, and all the people that I was along the way as well. And I thought it would be nice to sort of wrap it all up into one EP, because when I moved to New York from North Carolina, I underwent so many changes trying to figure out who I was and which parts of myself only existed because I was told to be that person, and which parts of myself only existed now because I was rebelling from being that person, and just a bunch of tiny little identity crises along the way. So yeah, For Ghosts is like the ghosts of my past, whether it's relationships or situationships, and then sort of the ghosts of the people that I was along the way, who I sometimes don't even fully recognize anymore.
Well, I think it's an EP that's very relevant to many people today. If there's anything throughout these past 18 months, I know I can relate, I'm sure you can relate, and I'm sure people, artists, everyone can relate. It's been a time to be still and to maybe face some ghosts of past, present, and future. And the fact that you've already put it down into an EP that I think people really, really can relate to. And, in terms of this time that we've had as artists, especially, I'm curious to know how your why statement and why ASHLEY StrongArm does what she does, how that has been accentuated with the time you've gotten to just be still.
Yeah. Oh man. I think if anything, I've taken a lot. I mean, we've all gone through just such a crazy roller coaster, and it's been wild for everyone's mental health. It's been wild for people's physical health. And as someone who had I'm on immunosuppressants, so I was taking the pandemic really seriously and staying inside. And for a second, I just had to stop running away because I didn't have anywhere to run to. I had to just completely stop and be like, what is it I'm like running from? And, I think I enjoy songwriting because you get to really like come face to face with your own demons and turn them into something that's more beautiful, and you can sing about your experiences. And the silver lining is that now you have something you can appreciate and hold on to forever, when it started as something terrible like a breakup or mental health struggles. So I think one of the biggest reasons that I write is it feels really therapeutic, and it feels like something that it's like, you go to therapy and you like get everything off your chest and you say it out loud and you're like, oh, I feel so much better because I said it. And I feel the same way with music. If I'm like having a really hard time and I sit down and I just sing about it, even if it doesn't end up becoming a full-length song, it's like, at least I said it and it like left my body and like went somewhere else. So I couldn't write at first when the pandemic started because it just, everything stopped and I felt like my creative energy just depleted. And then it sort of came in a wave where it was like, oh, I must now finally be like processing what we're going through. And then I just couldn't stop writing. And so I think the pandemic really like highlighted how much I use music as sort of a way to like heal and reflect.
Well, and then also how your songs are going to eventually help heal others who may be feeling a similar isolation, a similar deep down dark emotion, but that through any sort of release that we're able to do in our own way, there's light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, Ashley, on a lighter note, I asked you for the interview. I was so fascinated with the fact that you are Ashley Armstrong, but
Yes.
your name as an artist is ASHLEY StrongArm, and I thought that was such like a hashtag badass boss lady name. And you gave like the most interesting answer I was not expecting. So talk to me how Ashley Strongarm was born.
Yes, yeah, it was sort of a happy accident. In high school, when everyone started downloading Twitter, I was like, okay, let's do this. And I couldn't figure out a username. Ashley Armstrong was taken, and I just, without really thinking much of it, just flipped my last name on its head. I was like, fine, I'll be Strongarm. And from there, the username just stuck, and I brought it with me, and then I gained traction on Vine, and my username was actually Strongarm there too, just because you want your usernames to match. If not, I would forget it. And that was the first time people started thinking that was my name. And I was like, oh no, that's not my real name. This is just like something that my real name is typically taken. And then I realized it's pretty like SEO friendly from like a marketing standpoint, because you Google Ashley Armstrong, you're gonna find a lot of people, and they're not me. But Ashley Strongarm wasn't really a territory that had been taken over yet. So I sort of just kept it and ran with it.
Well, I love it, and I'm so happy you ran with it. You are definitely singular. You don't need the singular name to prove that, Ashley. Your stuff is amazing, and I'm so excited for what's to come next from you. And I just want to let the audience know, for more on the amazing Ashley Strongarm, you can read more about her right below this video. Ashley, thank you so much for speaking with me from Bushwick, Brooklyn today.
Yeah, thank you. Across the water.
I know. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you too.